Hello and welcome everyone, and we're hope you're doing well. In this episode, we have a ton of new cards to break down. Preface that, more cards were released after the recording of this episode, so we have short videos up on all of our platforms for those new ones. Thanks, and as always, everyone, take it away. Oh, what a wonderful time it is to be a Disney Lorcana fan. Welcome everyone to the Glimmer Gang Podcast. We have a great episode in store for you all today. Since our second episode, Dissecting D23, was released, Lorcana has gained 6 more cards. I know, right? Even over a month and a half, we gained 6 more cards. And we're here to break them down and talk about them. So I'm going to kick it over to Spencer for our first 2 cards, which we've all dubbed our vanilla cards. So Spencer, what do you got?
All right, so the first card that we got released, which was right before Christmas time, was Olaf, the Friendly Snowman, who is a Storyborn ally, costs 1, and has 1 power, 3 defense. He is vanilla, which, for anyone not familiar with TCG terms, means that he does not have any special abilities on his card. He's just a stat box. His flavor text reads, "I'm Olaf and I like warm hugs." So being a storeborn, he is very much just what you expect from Olaf, straight out of the movie. As far as like what we think about him, I mean, he just seems to be kind of like a simple filler card. He doesn't have any. We're still not sure on his pips, right? On whether he has any.
Yeah, that was covered by like the art that they revealed.
Yeah.
No, yeah, we don't know if he has any pips yet.
Yeah, so we don't know if he has any pips. So he seems to just be, a pretty simple filler card. Whether there's going to be other good cards to fill in his place for a Amethyst deck, which I forgot to mention that he's Amethyst, or not, we will find out. But he's cheap, and he does have a slightly better stat line than the other 1 or 2 cost cards that we've seen. So maybe he's going to have enough defense to stick around for a little while unless he runs into a Captain Hook. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. We picked up another vanilla card shortly after. I don't know. The next card release is Dragonfire, but we'll get to that last because it's a little bit special. So we did pick up another vanilla card, Jumba Jukiba, Renegade Scientist from the Lilo and Stitch franchise. He's an Emerald, 5 cost, 4 power, 5 toughness, with 2 pips, and his flavor text reads, "Created something? Ha! But that would be irresponsible and unethical. I would never, ever make more than 1." Which is interesting because that is a quote straight out of the movie, yet this Jumba is a Dreamborn alien inventor. So he does add a little bit of interest as far as our Dreamborn versus Storyborn theories go, with Dreamborns being reimaginings of the characters. And the only thing that really seems different about him is like the way he's dressed. It looks much more modern, I guess, than the Storyborn version is, but we shall see exactly how all that plays out. He's again vanilla. Prior to another card releasing shortly after him, he also had a better stat line than is expected for his cost, but that changed shortly. But before we get into that, our final simple reveal that we got actually wasn't too simple. It was the card Dragonfire, which is a 5 cost Ruby card, except its cost symbol is a little bit different. Instead of having the swirly around the hexagon, it's just a hexagon, which we've now seen on one other card, and no one knows what that means. We had speculated that it was a way to denote a certain type of card, but that has been disproven. So we shall see exactly what that means in spring, I suppose. But the thing that's exciting about Dragonfire is it is an action, not a creature or character in this case. So it is our first action card. It's our first non-character card, and so far the only non-character card that we have seen in the game. And it has the ability banish chosen character, much like Maleficent from D23, which we have now seen has actually been errated to read just like this card instead of its original text of banish chosen opposing character, which just gives you a little bit more options and some more flexibility. So it's super exciting to finally have a card that is not a character card and that we can confirm that there are going to be spells of some sort in the game. Whether we're going to be looking at simply only being able to play it on our turn, or whether we're going to have some kind of interaction on our opponent's turn and different spell speeds, we are not sure of yet. But it is fun to finally see something that isn't a character in the game. So, what is everyone's thoughts about these first three cards for us to discuss tonight?
My first thought is Olaf actually could be sneaky good like right away. If we get like more cards like after a few sets and stuff, obviously there's gonna be more cards that like are able to hit 3 defense. But like if like defending and stuff is a very important part of the game, which I think it will be, having a card that you can throw down that's a 1 cost and is 3 defense right away isn't half bad. And I know like obviously Captain Hook can come and get rid of it if it does have that same thing where if it's even amount, then both cards go away, like we've seen in other games when you battle or challenge. But that having 3 defense isn't that bad at all, honestly.
The one cost for the 1/3, it's gonna be nice, especially I could see it being good in Amethyst in conjunction with Elsa, especially because you're gonna get him down turn 1, maybe another one turn 2, and you're gonna have a decent way to keep your Elsa safe as she freezes your opponent's characters. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like that pre-release style thing, just being able to like have something that's easy defense. That's I think that and Hook are honestly like the 2 best limited pre-release draft style cards we have so far.
Okay, what I wanted to say about these vanilla cards is looking at their archetypes too, with the ally, and then you got alien and inventor, seeing what kind of support we get for those kind of archetypes will push these cards, push just being vanillas to just seeing what kind of alien support we get for Jumba, especially. I could definitely see like some sort of alien deck being built.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo the sentiments that these vanilla cards are likely really useful in sealed format. And also what Teddy was talking about with Olaf, based off of how Hook reads, I don't think we're going to have a lot of 1-cost characters that are going to be able to get up to 3 power. So Olaf is in a good position to be able to be that early tanky piece that your opponent's not going to be able to take out very easy, which I think is valuable. And the final thing that I forgot to mention when I was going over these is that Olaf was the first character that we saw that did not have a hero or villain keyword, and they did with Jumba. So he also doesn't have hero, villain, or ally. So we know that characters do not require to have any of those 3 keywords, which is useful information for us, I think.
The next card we have for you all is Mulan, Imperial Soldier. She is 5 cost with 4 attack and 5 defense. She is in the color ruby, and she is a storyborn hero princess, which I'm very excited for the princess keywording. That's really exciting for me. I mean, I don't think Disney would have left it out regardless, but it's nice to see it finally. She has lead by example. During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, your other characters get +1 pip this turn. I want to start off by saying also that I called Mulan would be in Ruby a long time ago on the Discord. And I think that she's phenomenal. I think that she's going to be a very, very strong card once a meta is developed with Lorcana. I think she is poised to be maybe one of the best red cards that we will see. She's that good, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
I think I want to know what pips are now. Like, whatever these thingies do, whatever these little magic black and white diamonds do, this just makes me want to know more. This makes me hungry for more. So I'm talking to you, Lorcana. Tell us what these pips are. Because, you're going to reveal a card that has an ability, and we don't know what that means. Like, I want to know. I want to know, like, am I getting it closer to winning with this? Is it going to help your resource pool? Because I think there have definitely been rumors that, like, these pips could be for your mana pool. These pips could be for playing cards or your win con. So, yeah, I want to know, like, what do these pips do? What are these little magical specks of dust that have been on the right side of these cards that we've all been waiting for?
So I think this Mulan card, like Sean said, is going to be a meta-defining card, just with the way it works with going wide. I do believe that it supports that the pips are a part of your win con, especially in combination with the next card we're going to talk about, because the next card that we're going to talk about that has a similar ability doesn't make sense with it being resources, with how expensive that other card is. So I do believe that this fully supports that it's part of your win con, and the way that she can really ramp up the speed of your win con, if that is true. This is, like we said, meta defining, I think, at least as far as the ruby color goes. And also because of the way that it's worded, where the buff to the pips only lasts until the end of turn, has also significantly influenced how we've been theory crafting about how the pips might lead to a win con. And I think that's been really, really interesting discussion as in terms of how that's developed throughout the community. So I'm really looking forward to, as Teddy said, to learn what on earth these pips do.
The other thing I'll add, and this goes for our next card too, with how this Mulan appreciates having a whiteboard, and I do wonder if we're going to have a max limit of cards we can have out on the field, or if it's going to be unlimited. That's one of the things that I'm interested in seeing cleared up in the spring once we finally have all those rules. Okay, moving on with our big boss cards that we got revealed. Next, we have Hades, King of Olympus, 8 cost, 6/7. He is in Amber, and he is a Floodborn, Villain, King, and Deity. Like with our other Floodborn cards, we have the shift ability for 6. You may pay 6, whatever the hexagon symbol is, to play this on top of one of your other characters named Hades. And then his plot, much like Mulan, surrounds the pips. Sinister plot. This character gets +1 for every other villain character you have in play. So, like I was saying before, she will also appreciate having a wide board of villains. And then the other interesting thing about Hades with his cost, he shares the same symbol with Dragonfire, in which it is just the hexagon and not the swirls around it. So it's very interesting to see that be on a character card, as if it's previously speculated that would just be for action cards. But here it is on a character card. So any thoughts on that?
I have a theory I just made up in my head. So what if the difference between the swirly and the non-swirly is what you pay to play it? Because looking at shift, you have to pay those 6 like hexagons, whatever the cost or whatever the payment thing is. So like, what if we get like energy cards like Pokemon has, and it's the 6 different what are they, gems or whatever those ink colors? Yeah. What if we get like 6 different cards for the ink colors, and you say you have to pay that many to play the card? And cards with the swirl, you have to actually like pay, like for Mulan, because Mulan is a 5 and she's a swirl and she's a red, you have to pay 5 red. But then for Hades or for Dragon Breath, you can mix and match. You just have to pay 8 resources to play it. That I feel like could be something, but it also couldn't be.
Yeah, my personal theory is actually a secondary resource outside of the inks. Um, Though now staring at Hades, I'm questioning it a little, but because he's such a high cost. But we got those tokens that are coming with all of the different gift sets and everything, and with the starter decks. So I'm wondering if either those are a secondary resource, or if it's kind of like a system where if the lore slash pips are the win condition, what if you had to spend some to gain some? Like the secondary, the hexagon being the symbol for lore, and you had to spend 6 lore to shift Hades, but because you have such a wide board, you're going to gain so much back. And some sort of strategy around that. That's one of my personal theories on the cost difference.
Just throw it out there just to be different, because I think it'd be funny, is I'll go with the spell speed theory, because I think the idea of someone challenging your other Hades and then you just being like, BWAM! Shifted to a 6/7, which the only thing that can deal with that currently is Maleficent, would be really fun. And that's the only reason
I'm not going to lie, rip headphone users, so all of us, but that's okay.
And also another great thing about Hades that I love is it's very much showing you that creature types matter decks are going to be a thing. I feel like this is the first real confirmation we've had of that.
For sure. Yeah, I'm super excited for those decks.
Okay, so our next card, our final card for the episode, our 6th card, is Aurora, Dreaming Guardian. She is a Sapphire. She's a 5 cost and a 3/5, with 3 being attack and 5 being defense. She's a Floodborn hero princess, and her abilities is Shift 3. You may pay 3 hexagons or whatever that is to play this on top of one of your characters named Aurora. So we see Shift on another color, which is very interesting because we had only seen Shift on yellow before. And then her second ability is Protective Embrace. And your other characters gain Ward, which is a new keyword that we haven't seen before. And it reads, opponents can't choose them except the challenge. So I'm very curious, because when you actually look at the card, because it was revealed on Twitter what it was at Nuremberg Toy Fair, that is one of the abilities like Robin Hood that has that little the little box behind it. So I think that's one where you have to tap to do that. That would be my best bet. I think those ones that have the little box behind it, you have to tap to use those. But being able to have a card like that basically, if you have a board full of characters and you give them all Ward, how are people supposed to actually get through you? Because I wonder if it only is going to last for 1 turn or something. But that seems very overpowered. If we obviously don't know the rules yet, but that seems pretty overpowered in my mind.
It is nice to see that the Floodborn and chip mechanic is not going to be unique to Amber. So this does confirm that we're going to be seeing this in all the colors potentially. And I think one of the main speculations now is since Aurora is one of the face cards for the starter decks, is that one of each of the characters on the starter decks will be a Floodborn character. That's a popular theory going around right now.
Yes, I'm a proponent of that theory. I think it's going to be Aladdin and Mickey based off of the symbology on their outfits.
Ooh, I like that. That's a cool theory. I'm on board. I'm for sure on board with that. I like that idea for them being the shift face cards, if that does indeed become a trend with the starter decks.
I will say this Aurora card does make me excited for the Simba Aurora starter deck. I think that's definitely the first one I'm going for. My favorite color is blue, so I'm kind of biased. But I do think that whatever Simba has, just his character in Lion King and stuff like that, I could definitely see that being a very beefy deck in a way that plays defensive. And that's almost I'm a aggressive player, but I also like playing defense. And I think, just relating back to sports, defense wins championships. So if you can play defensive right, then I think you have the best bet on winning. And I think that Aurora combined with over what Simba is going to be is honestly going to be our best bet at getting a defensive deck.
I agree. I think Aurora and Simba are going to end up being the control deck of the three, quote unquote. They're not going to lean super hard into those mechanics, but I think you'll see them in there. You already see it with Ward. I believe that the Aladdin deck will probably be our more aggressive of the three, and then, in my opinion, the Mickey deck will be kind of a mid-rangey type of deck. That's just my speculations.
Going back a little bit, I think that it makes sense for all the starter decks to have a Floodborn character, because one of the major goals of a starter deck is to introduce new players to the mechanics of the game. And I do believe that this Floodborn shift mechanic is going to be a fairly central aspect of the game, and something that they're going to want to introduce new players to and give them access to. As far as what the starter decks entail and how I think they're going to play, one, I agree with everyone, and Aurora is making me really want to pick up the Aurora Simba deck, even though I was looking at the Moana Mickey deck originally. So yeah, we're all going to have to play rock, paper, scissors at Gen Con if we can only get one and see who gets what. But that being said, I think that the Aurora Simba deck is going to be what I would call a beats deck, where it's about getting out creatures and keeping them on the field and pressuring your opponent. So I think Aurora and the rest of the Sapphire squad is going to be playing the defensive role, while Simba and the Steel squad is going to be playing the offensive role, and it's just going to be very creature heavy. Whereas the Moana Mickey deck is going to be a tempo control sort of deck, just based off of what we've seen from Amber and Amethyst so far. And that the Cruella Aladdin deck is going to be what I would call a stall ramp deck, where you're using your green cards to stall out the game so that you can get out your big, nasty, high-cost red cards that we've seen so far, to swing in the game for a win. So those are my thoughts.
I'm definitely with you on that, Sneaky. I agree with all of those takes for the decks.
Yeah, I can get behind that for sure. I can see the wisdom in all that for absolutely. And do all four of us want the Simba Aurora deck?
It looks like it.
That's hilarious to me.
It's a sign that we're meant to be, guys.
Right. Group hug.
But I mean, I'm going to be getting all three, but to play.
We've already established that I'm a very big proponent of deck types whose name I'm not supposed to say anymore. But Aurora definitely gives me a big feel for that, where it's sort of a global buff to all of your characters. And that's really the type of decks I like to play, of building a wide board with lots of buffs and just getting like a bunch of really nasty characters on the board that you just can't deal with. And that's kind of how I like to play. And that is why I'm being pulled towards the Aurora Simba, because I'm pretty sure Simba is also going to have some kind of aura, because let's be honest, he's the king.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. Those were the 6 new cards that we have, and obviously we're going to be seeing a lot more in the next year. Well, I hope you enjoyed our comprehensive breakdown of those cards. Like I said at the beginning, we have short videos out on the rest of the new cards, so you can go watch those now. We'll talk soon, and everyone, Glimmer on.